Welcome to Cellular Healing TV. This is episode 91, and I have Dr. Pompa here on the call, and we have a really fun topic for you guys today. But first of all, let's see how you doing, Dr. Pompa. Looks like you have a different background there.
Yeah. Hey, I'm doing wonderful. I mean, here we are. I'm in a beautiful place, preparing for lectures in the future. You know, I have to sometimes get away to actually get her done. You know that, Meredith. So here I am in a really nice location to do that. So, and with Thanksgiving coming up, I cannot wait to take a little break, right? And guess what I'm going to Thanksgiving? I'm going to Jackson Hole for Thanksgiving. Remember the video I shot there?
Last year, I do.
I went there and I was looking at these primitive diets, you know, because they have a few museums there, a lot about that, and you know, just looking at what these people ate, and you know, so I love Jackson Hole, and I'm spending Thanksgiving there with the family, so cannot wait. And we have a great message as these seasons come up, Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? Meredith, do you gain weight? Do you gain weight during the holidays?
For the holidays, you know, it's funny you ask. I used to before I met you, and I joined with our team here and our mission and learned this incredible information. I definitely used to binge and eat, you know, very, very indulgent foods that, you know, I still can enjoy, but with some different strategies where I don't gain the weight anymore over the holidays. And it's a really nice thing to experience, I have to say. So do you gain weight over the holidays?
I do not. And I'm just, as you said that, maybe I did too at one point, you know, but, you know, as today's show is how to go through the holidays without gaining weight, right? Now, I'm always asked this question, right? So, because, you know, we don't gain weight, but I'm always asked, well, yeah, but you don't eat the things, you know, you're not going to partake in this great meal. Not true. I will eat like a king. I will feast. I will have great things. Now, granted, I'm not going to eat a lot of the crap. I like to make healthier pies. You know, we do definitely healthier things. But I promise you, I will have pie. I will have some ice cream. I will have some things that most people would say, oh my gosh, you know, Dr. Pompa doesn't eat. And I promise you, I will not gain weight because of these 10 strategies that Meredith, you have actually put most of these together, and I think that these are the strategies you and I do, right? We went over them. I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I do. You know, that's how I can even enjoy some of these foods that I normally don't even eat and still not gain weight. So let's get into them. Guide us through.
Awesome. All right, guys, 10 strategies to help you avoid weight gain during the holidays. So listen up, and we're going to dive right in. All right, so the first one here, you've heard us talk about this on the show before, but there are kind of some specific strategies you can use over the holidays as well for this one. And so strategy number 1 is intermittent fasting. Now, Dr. Pompa, how can this help us to not gain weight over the holidays?
Well, look, intermittent fasting is a strategy to get your body to really be a more efficient fat burner, right? I mean, the old adage of eating 6 meals a day, spreading out your meals, you know, we know on the short term that works, but we never give our body a chance to actually burn fat. You know, something that, you know, you and I both do is we intermittent fast daily. And that means that we give ourselves 16, 18 hours in between dinner and breakfast, or our next meal, which wouldn't be breakfast, it's typically lunch. We give ourselves that amount of time to burn our fat. I mean, amazing stuff happens when we don't eat. You know, growth hormone goes up, anabolic hormones that we need to be lean and lose fat and use fat for energy rise, and we go into this stage where our bodies literally clean up ourselves. Matter of fact, it's something called autolytic behavior takes place, where our bodies automatically start eating bad stuff. That even happens when we're not eating, right? So, or it's called autophage, where the body starts eating bad cancer cells and bad cells that need to go away, or potentially could be cancer cells. So, you know, that happens when we do these intermittent fasts. So hormones go in the right direction. Our body starts to eat the bad stuff, you know, and it utilizes its fat for energy. And then something else miraculous happens. You know, what happens is our glucose levels go down, and our body compensates for that by raising something called ketones, which we know heal the brain, downregulate inflammation, the cause of all disease, turns on our longevities, our genes that are involved in living longer, the SIRT1 gene. So people in studies that do this type of fasting, intermittent fasting, we know that they live longer. And I'll tell you, I just found a great thing. If I can find it here, I have to read this, and I'm not going to slow you down too much, but I promise you this will be worth it. So in my studies, I found this. Well, almost found this. Hold on, I'm going to get there. Don't you worry. So we're all familiar with the Hunzu people, right? These people, I'm going to read a title for you, okay? They live for 120 years. They look twice as young and haven't been sick for one day. All secrets of the people. So this is the Hunzu tribes, and I just lost my page. There it is. Okay, this is the secret of the Hunzu tribe. It says during the summer, they eat fresh vegetables and fruit, and when winter comes, they consume a diet of apricots, sheep milk, cheese. Okay, so it's a very different diet than they consume in the summer, which is obviously a higher fruits and vegetable diet. This is a time when the Hunzu eat, then there is a time when the Hunzu eat nothing, a period known as starving spring. So what happens is these people fast in every spring, and they take their bodies through this amazing thing. But also, we're going to get to this, that's also diet variation, isn't it? So their diet shifts, and they say they're finding out that these times where they literally don't eat, times where they change and eat much less, and then times where they feast on fats is why they live so long. Meredith, when I read that article, I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is what we do. So you're going to hear that principle in these 10. So from that, we can refer back to it but these fasts like that, and fasting daily, really is a strategy to live longer, be healthier, and stay lean.
Mm-hmm. Just out of curiosity, how long were the Hunzu people fasting in the spring?
Yeah, I mean, I have to find out more, but it looks like they went with very little food, for months. I mean, a couple months. I mean, very little, and it looked like they would go, a week and then have a little bit, and a week and then have a little bit. So it looked like a very varied fast for a long period of time, and it's kind of neat when you look at that. So.
Awesome. I love it. And with the intermittent fasting too, just around the holidays, to kind of bring it back to our specific topic, I know for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, I will not really be eating much throughout the day. I'll probably wake up, maybe have some organic coffee or tea with some coconut oil in the morning, and maybe snack a little bit throughout the day, but I will be saving my calories for that big meal in the evening, and I will be enjoying every bite of it. So that is a way to intermittent fast before a big holiday meal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and another just trick too, I think is good to implement is after you have that holiday meal that evening, wait at least 12 hours before you eat the next day to give your body that rest and that time, that fasting time.
But, you know that I've been preparing for a seminar and doing a lot of my own research, which I love to do, and measuring my own glucose levels, measuring my own ketones, and just looking what the body does. And I do practice something that we call diet variation, where in the summer I go into ketosis and my body's very efficient. My carbohydrates are below 50 and very efficient fat burner at that time. And when I go into that state, I always feel absolutely amazing. And anyways, in that state, closing the door there, we got some noise.
Somebody tried to walk in.
All right. My body functions very well with an athletic, point. And then fall comes, and I purposely raise my carbohydrates to what's still considered a low carb diet, but maybe 100, 150, which is defined still as a low carb diet. To me, it's high, and sometimes I even have trouble hitting those carbohydrate numbers because I do not eat breakfast, and I'm only eating a small meal in the day and a big meal at dinner. But here's what I found. I eat, oftentimes I'll purposely once a week, I do diet variation where I'll eat a big carbohydrate meal, where we get this emmer wheat pasta, which is the ancient wheat. Anyways, I'll have a big dish of pasta and I'll feast carbohydrates, but then I don't eat the next morning. And lo and behold, I test my glucose, and through the day, it's getting lower and lower. and my ketones are rising. So literally, even after the big meal, my body shifts into this fat burning mode, because I've got it used to doing that, where I start actually going back into ketosis, even though I had that big carb meal. So it was an interesting finding. But so, yeah, if you ate the big Thanksgiving meal and you did what you just said, you just simply waited after and didn't eat for, those hours after the meal, your body is going to normalize that glucose rise.
Mm-hmm.
Which keeps you from storing fat is the point. It keeps you from storing fat, and you'll actually burn all of the stuff out that you stored, because your body will take all those carbohydrates and store them into glucose. When it doesn't have room to store it as glucose, it moves it into fat. Well, if you don't let your body do that by not eating for the next day, you're not going to get the fat, right? It's brilliant.
You never give your body the chance to burn the fat. So maybe someone's listening to us for the first time. Would you recommend jumping into daily intermittent fasting? Would there be a benefit even if you just did it once or twice a week?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely a bigger benefit when you actually do this as an activity for longer. I think the longer you do it, the more efficient your body becomes, right? And that's no doubt. However, I think that someone can just do that and still gets a benefit and offset that big meal, in some aspect by just not eating for at least, like you said, at least 12 hours, maybe even 16, 18 hours after that meal.
Awesome. All right. Strategy number 1, intermittent fasting. All right. Number 2, another strategy we've talked a lot about here, but we can incorporate it into the holiday calendar. Let's talk about burst training, Dr. Pompa, and how that can help us avoid weight gain during the holidays.
I did a video and an article on this. So if you go to drpompa.com, you can go and put in the word skinning, right? I wasn't that in the title, right? You showed me doing this. I did this skinning where we put these skins, like an animal skin. They're not made of animal skin anymore, but on the bottom of our skis, and we trek up the mountains. And in the video, I talk about why doing it on a fasting state. So basically, it's burst training, to put simple. Burst training on an empty stomach, in the morning without eating, you get this major growth hormone rise, and it kicks you into this fat burning phase like crazy. I know that when I do my morning mountain bike rides, without eating, I am literally so lean the next day. So there is a difference of burst training on a full stomach versus on an empty stomach in the morning. It is a strategy. It does work. I always say that you don't lose weight by exercise. It's a cherry on the top. You can sure make that cherry a lot bigger by doing what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so that would be a great strategy after Thanksgiving night and you've just eaten a ton, to wake up and work out on a fasted stomach. Same with Christmas, same with any of the other holidays coming up. Just wake up and work out. That's going to help you get back into fat burning mode.
Great strategy.
Awesome. All right. Number 3, you and I are big proponents of this. Eat fat first. Let's talk about good fat over the holidays.
Yeah, well, there's actually science behind that. You said, Dr. Pompa, this is a strategy that just came into my mind. Eat fat first. Well, it didn't just come into your mind. You noticed that when you do that, you seem to get full faster, right? Am I right on that?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, Meredith, there's actually science behind that, right? When you eat fat, there's actually something released called I have to pronounce it correctly, cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin that is released, when you eat large amounts of fat in response to the fat. However, cholecystokinin actually stimulates your vagal nerve, The vagus nerve is one that's responsible for eating or not eating. It connects to your brain and your digestion, So there's this nerve. Well, it stimulates that neurological response, and it tells us basically to eat less. It makes us not eat as much. It just makes us want wants us to stop eating. So that's really important. So when you eat fat, you start to release that hormone, and all of a sudden you're partway through the meal going, I'm really not hungry anymore. So great strategy. Eat fat first. Give them some suggestions.
Yeah, it's so key. And even just some snacks in between meals with great fat, or some raw cheese, nuts, olives. I always have some coconut oil on hand with a little sea salt and cinnamon to regulate my blood sugar and keep me really full. At meals, cover your salad in olive oil, and eat the fatty parts of your meat as long as it's from grass-fed healthy animals. Don't shy away from fat, because that does make such a huge difference in feeling good, your brain functioning well, and keeping you satiated to really decrease cravings for other things that aren't so good for you.
Yeah, I saw my father do that. He really mastered eating less and living longer, and he would even have butter. So don't be afraid of having like a tablespoon of butter before a meal. Ghee, these really saturated fats will stimulate, that cholecystokinin. And really you'll find that you just simply eat less naturally. Remember, we can never caloric restrict by saying, I'm done eating, right? I'm gonna lose weight I'm just gonna not eat less. I'm not done eating and walk away hungry. No, that lasts for a week, at best, maybe a day, maybe two, whatever. But the point is no, you have to eat less. We know that people live longer who eat less, but it's eating less because you're not hungry. That's what happens when we intermittent fast. I haven't eaten today. It's 1:30 my time. I have not one bite of food. I have no sign of hunger. Zero. My body's functioning on its fat supplies, and all the bad stuff, and it's eating it. I could easily go to dinner without eating. No problem at all. But again, that is lower calories. So do I caloric restrict? I don't even try. I'll eat like a king tonight. And if I did eat lunch, I could eat a nice big lunch. But at the end of the day, I'm eating less, not because I'm pushing food away, because my hormonal system is so efficient at the cellular level of burning fat that you simply don't get hungry.
Mm-hmm. But to remind viewers too, that didn't happen to you overnight either, where you were able to not eat up until dinner time. So it is a process called keto adaptation, fat adaptation, that does take a period of time.
That's right. Listen, if you look at the strategies, we did the 5 strategies, right? The 5 strategies that we have articles for each strategy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you do those strategies long enough, so these things, if you don't understand a word we're talking about, ketosis or intermittent fasting, diet variation, read the strategies. It's all there. We have articles on ketosis. Put it into the search bar, where the articles are. You'll find videos, you'll find articles, diet variation, videos, articles, all these strategies are there. So if we say something you're not familiar with, we have an article on it, we have videos on it.
Yes, and that's at drpompa.com, drpompa.com. So check those out for sure for more information if you're curious and are hearing some things for the first time. So, all right. So strategy number 3 was eat fat first. Next, strategy number 4. So take a walk or do some form of movement after a meal to increase your metabolism and avoid the postprandial blood sugar spike. So why is it important to exercise and get some movement after we eat a big meal?
Because of what you just said, the postprandial blood sugar spike, meaning that if you take, even a healthy meal, right? If you take your blood sugar before a meal, it's going to be, for most of you, probably in the 90s, for Meredith and I, 60s or 70s, and then you eat, and then you're going to see 120s. That's if you're healthy. If you're pre-diabetic, you're going to see something higher than that. That's very dangerous. After I eat, I'll see, maybe 104, 105, whatever. So the point is it goes up, right? Now, obviously, some people go up so high, then they slam down, and then you're dead. So if you exercise,
watching football. Yep.
That's right, exactly. If you exercise or do anything afterwards, like you said, just some type of movement, you're going to utilize that glucose so you don't get that massive drop. And also, you're going to utilize some of that glucose so your body's not looking for places to store it. Your body just goes into this blah phase. So burn the glucose is the point.
Yep. Go out, go for a walk, go play some football. Go have some fun with your family after that meal, and you will reap not only the benefits of great time with your family, but you will also avoid that blood sugar spike and keep yourself in a fat burning mode.
I'm not one to watch people play things, right? I don't understand that. So, gentlemen out there, I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't get sitting in front of the television all day watching people play. I could do that for a period of time. Then I go, I want to play. I want to do something, right? It's like I want to go out and do something. I don't want to watch people do things, but that's me. You're going to do what you do. But if you're going to watch football all day, for goodness sakes, go out and do something before you do, right after the meal. So.
Right, exactly. Do a little something, little something. All right. Next, strategy number 5. This is something I do is that you eat a pretty similar breakfast and lunch every day, which kind of just helps me keep on track with my whole meal plan. Now, to back up, I don't often eat breakfast. Typically, I maybe just have some green tea in the morning with coconut oil. So I just have that good fat, which keeps me going right till lunch, and I'm fine. But a lot of people like to have a little breakfast. So perhaps you would like to have a smoothie for breakfast, and then maybe have a salad with some healthy fat and protein for lunch, which is what I typically have for lunch. And by having those same breakfasts and lunches every day, you kind of keep yourself in the same mode, and you can kind of gauge your calories a little bit better too. So when you're having different meals in the evenings, you just kind of have a better gauge of where you're at and when you've splurged, because you are kind of being more consistent throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. And, it really does help, because even at the end, if you're looking at your carbohydrates, it's so much easier to know what your carbohydrates are, if you're doing the same thing for breakfast and for lunch, and it's always easy for me. People say, oh, if I'm in ketosis and I'm tracking my carbs, it's easy because I know what I have for lunch. It's like I know that, carbohydrate total. And it makes me go, yeah, I can pretty much have this for dinner now with no problem, because I had the same thing. So yeah, it's darn easy. So that's good. Good stuff.
Thanks. Yep. So that was number 5. And if you needed some smoothie ideas, by the way, we do have a free smoothie ebook for download. Just go to freesmoothieebook.com and you can get 25 of our favorite smoothie recipes, and that's a free download. So go check that out. Little side note.
I think the other benefit to that too is that if you keep those 2 meals healthy, you don't have to overthink it. You're not going to get into trouble. If you have your smoothie for breakfast, smoothie for lunch, maybe it's eggs for breakfast, eggs for lunch, then dinner, then you have some leeway, right? If dinner, you have some leeway. If you keep those meals consistent and healthy, it's easy for dinner then.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a great strategy. So that's number 5. All right. Number 6, next is save your carbs for the evening meal. So eating protein and fat during the day and carbs at the evening meal. Can you explain why that is effective for fat burning and avoiding weight gain?
Yeah, what I said before, is when I ate those big carbohydrate dinner, and I noticed my glucose, especially if I didn't eat breakfast and intermittent fasted daily, I would notice that my glucose levels would be a little higher at first thing in the morning than if I didn't have that carbohydrate meal. So I'd start the day higher, but surely it would start to drop the glucose, and then the ketones would rise, as long as I didn't eat, right? So the bigger meal, was easy as long as I didn't eat in the day. I could get away with the big meal. Now, opposite would be true. If I ate a little bit of carbs here, even if it wasn't that much, a little bit of carbs at lunch, even if it wasn't that much, then I ate the big carbohydrate meal, different outcome. I'm not going to get the low glucose and the high ketones, and I'm not going to burn fat. I'm going to store it all. So by doing it at one meal is a strategy to utilize those carbohydrates and not store them as fat.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've said that as humans, we're nocturnal eaters too, because so many people still believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Right.
So can you just talk about that a little bit more, and the importance of those carbohydrates at night? And
it's been shown that humans are nocturnal eaters, and of course, there's some science that people talk about there. But I think when you just look at history, you look at the Roman culture, the Greek culture, and most European cultures, it's the big dinner. So it is the big dinner. Hence the word continental breakfast, right? Very small. We Americans go there and we're like, really, this is breakfast? Where's the waffles?
Yeah.
Where's the eggs? It's like this, it's like they barely eat, right? It's tea and a little thing, I don't even know what it is, but yeah. So the point is that, we're really the only culture that eats this huge breakfast. It's like, my gosh, they don't even eat lunch over there, right? They nap, they eat, these little things even for lunch. So it's very small. And then the big dinner that lasts 2 hours, and the Romans did it, the Greeks did it. And like I said, even the European culture. So And that really just fits with how humans are. Here's the science behind it real fast, is that when you eat the big meal, it stimulates the parasympathetic nerve system. That's the nerve system that relaxes us and puts us into a nice sleep mode. It drops our cortisol levels so we can go to sleep. The opposite is true. When we eat, when we're not eating, our sympathetic nerve system gets stimulated. That means we have more energy. We're burning our fat and we feel more energetic and our cortisols go up. And so that's the difference, is that big meal stimulates that parasympathetic nerve system and makes us want to rest.
Mm-hmm. And another component of it too is, if you are practicing intermittent fasting, if you don't eat that large meal in the evening, your body will believe it's starving and hang on to fat, which is a problem that, of course, nobody wants.
Yes, exactly right. You need the big meal to remind your body we're not starving, don't store fat, let's use it.
Yep. Awesome, great. All right, so next strategy. So we are on number 7, I believe, and this one is just kind of a good reminder. I know, we know that that this is important, but we need to choose the highest quality ingredients possible for these holiday dishes that we're making. So that means, ideally local and sustainable, but organic, grass-fed animal products, raw, organic, ideally fermented dairy products. Because we need to avoid GMOs, number 1, and number 2, when we eat these really high quality foods, we're more satiated.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the key, right? You need good ingredients. Yeah, you're going to spend more, but look, it's oftentimes it's not so much the food that makes us fat. It's the chemicals, isn't it? Easy to avoid. Don't get the chemicals. You can easily use stevia as sweetener. You should be doing that anyway. Our pies taste better to me than any, of the pies. We get all the good ingredients every time. Matter of fact, my son made a pie, and it was an apple pie, and it was absolutely delicious. I'm telling you, you'd be like, this is the best pie. It was all great ingredients. So it's easier than you think, folks. But remember, it's the chemicals and the toxins that are in the food that are making people more fat and more sick, even than the food.
Mm-hmm. So true. And last year we put up a big Thanksgiving menu on drpompa.com on your website. So, and I know there's a pumpkin pie recipe on there that's really fabulous. So if you need some idea and some recipe inspiration for Thanksgiving next week, definitely check out the Thanksgiving menu on drpompa.com and just type in pumpkin pie. It'll pop right up.
There you go.
All right. Awesome. So next, this is strategy number 8. And we've talked a lot about this, but diet variation, and specifically shifting into the ketogenic diet after the holidays for rapid weight loss. So we've eaten Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of the holidays we've gone through. And, if some people are still out there, they will have gained, maybe 5-10 pounds over the holidays. It happens. But this strategy to put yourself into ketosis after the holidays can just bring about rapid weight loss. So can you talk a little bit about how that mechanism works, Dr. Pompa? I know.
Yeah, I said I like to vary my diet. I go from, in ketosis in the summer, then shift over. And I talked about the Hunzu people. They had different times of the year. They do different diets. You can utilize this, where you're eating higher carbohydrates during the holiday. And then all of a sudden now you shift into ketosis. And it's unbelievable, because when you do that, your body is shifting gears. You get this hormone rise. Your body starts to utilize its fat for energy. Your appetite goes just way down automatically because you're eating higher fat. So you're releasing more of the enzyme that I said actually causes your body to not be as hungry. Your body's not as hungry because it's burning fat for energy, so it just doesn't need to eat. I mean, so there's multiple reasons why to shift your diet into ketosis. And we've written articles on diet variation in the 5 strategies. We have 2 articles on ketosis on our website as well.
Mm-hmm. We do. Yeah. It is incredible, just from personal experience, how not hungry you are on the ketogenic diet. It's funny because sometimes after a while you just want to eat something, but you're just not hungry. It's very interesting.
No doubt.
It's fun to experiment with. So great strategy after the holidays to drop weight really fast. And all right, second to last one here, number 9. So this is also kind of a post-holiday strategy. So maybe you want to wait till early January to start this. But giving a block fast a try for to jumpstart cellular healing and weight loss. So talk about how a longer fast versus the intermittent fast can help you lose weight.
Well, the Hunzu people did it right in the spring, right? So they would do, whether it was a week, a few weeks, within a month, they would just simply, not eat. And listen, there's nothing healthier. Thomas Seyfried is a scientist who is one of the leading researchers on cancer. As a matter of fact, he wrote a book called Cancer as a Metabolic Disease, showing that it is elevated glucose that really is a problem with cancer, right? And I mean, there's a toxic reason for that. The mitochondria gets damaged, and now the cells can only use glucose. And anyways, long story there, but his point is even a one fast a year, 7 to 10 days, decreases your cancer chances, up to 99%. Why? Because during these fasts, your body starts eating that autolytic process, starts eating all the bad stuff, and the autophage that goes on, that it starts eating the bad toxic cells that haven't died and should. And that's what happens during fast. But when you go into, when you start a different diet shift with a fast, it immediately throws you into ketosis. It immediately throws you into, fat burning and, your body eating through this process and a rise in growth hormone. It's the best way to start a diet shift is with a block fast, at least 4 days, whether it's whey water. We've done shows on whey water fasting, or broth fasting or stock fasting. We've done shows on that as well. So go back and you can look in the archive of podcasts, 2015 shows, and you'll see both of those fasts. We've discussed them.
Now, to clarify for the book on cancer as a metabolic disease, Dr. Seyfried was referring to water fasting, correct?
Yeah, but in his book, he talks also about the fact that, the research being, it looks like you can even do stock fasting.
Really?
And you'll get these results because it's really all about the glucose levels. They target about 55 to 65 when people are fasting of the target zone. In the ketones rising at least above 2 to 7. Okay, so that's what he calls the target zone. So to his point is, as long as you're in that zone, it doesn't matter if you're stock fasting or water fasting, you're going to get a positive effect.
Awesome.
So I'm a big believer in water fasting too, however, and he talks a lot about that. But he talks about even utilizing ketosis with fasting. And his point is that it's not just ketosis, but it's ketose with restriction, which he calls KD-R, keto diet restriction, meaning that utilizing ketosis with fasting, either daily or block, which we described, or just simply eating less in ketosis. So, and I'm talking about that at my next seminar to our doctors, and by the way, that's why some people, Meredith, I'm asked the question sometimes why people don't lose weight in ketosis and others do. I have several theories that I have offered, but according to these studies, not just by Seyfried, but others, they're not restricting their caloric intake enough. When you and I go into ketosis, we get a release in the cholecystokines, and we eat less. That doesn't happen with everybody. Some people don't. They don't get that release of the cholecystokines, and therefore they're not eating less. And according to Seyfried's work, and like I said, other studies that I'm looking at and acquiring, that's a problem. I mean, not that it's unhealthy, but they don't get the benefit of ketosis like you and I. And in mouse studies, none of the mice lost weight unless they did ketosis with the restriction. So interesting, Meredith. I'm going to teach more about that at my seminar, and you'll hear all those studies.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to learn more, and I'm sure we'll be sharing a lot more with all of you in the future as well.
So intermittent fasting with ketosis, whether it's block or daily, that's the key, according to the studies.
Wow. Big take-home point there after the holidays for rapid weight loss, guys. So taking notes there, and that was number 9. So awesome. And then this last one, we couldn't have this list without focusing, of course, on the mental and spiritual component of the holidays and the importance of focusing on people and on relaxing and de-stressing and possibly doing some yoga, meditation, prayer, taking the time for yourself and to really remember the the reason for the season and why we love to gather together and celebrate this time of the year, and just really the importance of just enjoying that time with family and friends and the spiritual component of the season.
Hey, let me, it's so true because people, unfortunately, in the holidays, they allow themselves, I use the word allow, to get more stressed out, which raises cortisol, and that can be a reason why you've gained weight, right? Going, I'm eating less during the holidays. Yeah, your stress, your cortisol levels throws you into whatever you eat, you start storing as fat. My suggestion is get into your prayer closet more during the holidays. Hey, I'm going to motivate you. Here it is. You ready? Watch the movie War Room.
I saw it.
Yeah, I watched it the other night. I'll tell you what, if that doesn't inspire you to get into your prayer closet, aka war room, nothing will. I'll make a challenge. If during the holidays you say, okay, I'm going to, spend time, whether it's even 10, 15 minutes in my little room, whatever that room is, in put it to prayer, I promise you, you will have a different holiday, not from a weight loss standpoint, although it'll help because of the stress, but I'm telling you, you will have a joyful holiday because it will just bring you into really what the whole season is about. Thanksgiving and thanks, to our Lord and Savior, and I'll tell you, just that is a challenge. As a matter of fact, that's, I started my morning out, like that today, and so there you go.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference in your day when you start it in the right way. That is for sure. And I can agree. And I think with these 10 strategies, guys, I'll just do a quick little review. And but if you implement these, then I think you're really going to be on the right track to have an amazing holiday season and to not gain weight. But okay, so the first one, as we recall, intermittent fasting. Number 2, burst training. Number 3, eat fat first. Number 4, we said take a walk or do some movement after a big meal to avoid that postprandial blood sugar spike. Number 5, we said eat a similar breakfast and lunch each day to help yourself gauge calories. Number 6, we talked about saving carbohydrates for your evening meal. Next, number 7, using the highest quality ingredients you can afford for your meals, including organic, grass-fed, local produce, and animal products. Next, we had to, let me see here. I got these a little bit out of order. To jumpstart cellular healing with a longer fast. So this would be after the probably after the new year, maybe after the holidays, but take a longer block fast to jumpstart cellular healing. Next, try the ketogenic diet, incorporating diet variation for rapid weight loss. And the last one, of course, is to focus on the people and the reason for the season. So everyone, we hope you have an amazing holiday season and Thanksgiving next week. If you need some recipe inspiration, check out some of our ideas on drpompa.com. And anything else you'd like to add, Dr. Pompa?
Nope. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, everyone. Take care, and we will see you next week.